3, your ex wants to admit something to you, okay? I feel today that they knew what they were doing, okay? They knew what they were doing when they did something when your relationship ended. But there's something playing on their mind, all right? So what I want to look at today is the truth of this. What is going on here? What is really eating? I'm hearing it's eating away at them. Yeah, they don't want any more indecisiveness, not on your part, but on theirs, okay? They've hit a point in their life, I'm not sure why yet, I'll get into that as I go through this reading for you today, but they've hit a point in their life where they just want to say it, okay? They need to get it off their chest. So I'm going to go into that. We're going to see what this is. I feel there's somebody else's energy involved in this, a third party, and I am feeling it is more of a romantic third party that they could still be involved with at some level. And I'm hearing to say at some level, because even though they might be there physically, mentally and emotionally, they have left the building, all right? So let me have a look. And I just heard the word sleeping with the enemy for some reason. So let's see what this is all about today. Just while I'm shuffling these though, I hope you're well. Thank you for watching. Thanks for your support, and thank you for all your likes and comments. I do read all my comments. I love to read your comments. And to those of you going through a tough time, look after yourselves, okay? And remember, you are the best, all right? If you'd like a reading, just click on the link of this, the link of the video in the description box even. I don't think you could get your words out at some point with this person. Is the website. All the readings are on there. Go check it out, and check out the $1 special reading at the moment. Okay, yeah, you weren't allowed to speak your truth. Or in the end you gave up. Did you give up? Let me know. Did you actually give up trying to get through to this person? But you know, they knew. All those times, I'm hearing to say, all those times that you tried, or you put your point across, quite rightly so, and they either gaslit you or blanked you or whatever they did, they knew you were right, and that is what is eating at them. That's what I've just heard. That is what's eating at them. You were right all along. What they did was wrong, okay? But they've definitely gone into a situation that they're either stuck in, or they haven't quite got the energy to get out of. Do you know what they really regret straight off the bat about you? Is they miss your decency and self-control. You have exhibited the most amazing amount of self-control during the breakup, before the breakup, and after the breakup, okay? Because I'm hearing to say what happened to you could have made you really quite revengeful, but you weren't. You just pulled back, and you just didn't lower yourself. You didn't lower yourself, okay? I am going to, in a minute or so, just have a look at what's going on in their environment, because I feel they are in a situationship or some sort of situation. Yeah, they were a Romeo. They literally, oh gosh, they went into another relationship without thinking. Your ex can change their mind on a dime, as they say, so they can have a mood, like their moods change quickly. And also they masquerade. They did. They literally went into another relationship and embraced a whole new identity, okay? But the key here for you today, and this is really important, everything you said that you believed they weren't listening to, or they hadn't taken on board, they had. okay? They chose at the time not to process it or just to blank it, because for whatever reason they felt that they were being called to go into a new situation, okay? But don't think that they don't know what they did. This isn't somebody who, as I always say, hasn't got a soul. I feel this person has. I feel that they made a very rash, stupid, impulsive decision, okay? And they are ashamed of themselves. They are ashamed of themselves. Let me see what's going on in their environment. Their environment, let's have a look. Right, Page of Pentacles in the reverse. King of Pentacles in the reverse. They were obsessed with something or somebody else, okay? But it's all gone tits up, as we say in the UK. It means it's just not working out. So they became obsessed with something in the physical, but within their own environment now. Page of Pentacles with the King of Pence both in reverse is pointing to a lack of stability, a lack of security, and can be just downright financial problems, okay? If they went specifically because they thought they would be better off in that environment for whatever reason, it is not working out, because at the bottom of the deck we have the Tower, folks. Yeah, it's just going to come tumbling down, okay? It is a bit of a disaster. If you got divorced or if you were living together, they regret that. They absolutely regret it. They now know that they were very hasty. They were drawn into something that seemed exciting at the time, okay? I feel that there were issues in, not issues like in bad issues, but things in your relationship that life throws at you. So there were certain things going on, okay? But instead of supporting you or you working it out or them working it out with you, they just went off and did something else, because I've got the Knight of Wands here. Now this for me is somebody who quite often will come back in, okay? But they don't always stay. So I am going to dig deeper into that for you, because the last thing we want is them coming back in for them to just disappear. All right, but in their energy there are financial issues. There's, you know, the Page of Pentacles in the reverse can just simply mean bad news in earthly matters. So money, accommodation, health, you know, it's something in the physical. But they're very bored at the moment. They're very bored. They're almost like a horse in a stable. A racehorse in a stable that wants to escape and they can't. Yeah, because underneath that Knight of Wands is the 8 of Wands, but it's in the reverse. So they're restricted. Their energy is trapped. They're just very, very ashamed of what they've done. What's that one? They haven't let go of you though, okay? They haven't let go of you, but I do feel they will let go of the situation they're in now, okay? They're holding on to the memories of you. They're holding on to how it was when you were together, but they're going to let go of that situation they're in now. God, Knight of Wands again. I've shuffled and that card's out again. They're going to come back in, okay? Those are my guides saying, yeah, that's your answer. This person is going to come back in. They're going to come back in very suddenly, very quickly. It's going to be very, very unexpected. You are not going to see this coming, okay? Because as far as you are aware, this is done and dusted now. What is it about this third party energy? What, you know, sleeping with the enemy or whoever they're with. What is it about that? Very argumentative. The relationship isn't working out. Okay, there's a lot of arguments. They're two completely different people that got together almost on a whim, but they're not well matched. Okay, they're not well matched. The person I feel they're involved with is quite territorial, quite controlling. Now, just what I've picked up about your ex in the last 10 minutes, they don't like to be controlled. They could be a fire sign. I have got strong fire energy. Okay, Aries, Leo or Sag. Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, not just Sun sign. They are very freedom loving. They don't like being tied down, but you gave them enough rope and they messed up, didn't they? Yeah, they could have got involved with somebody who was even a friend of yours or somebody that you knew, okay? There was somebody in your energy in the past who, as we would say, would raise a glass with you, but behind your back had got a, you know, was a snake, okay? But this relationship is decaying. All right, it seemed, and I'm hearing some words, I hope they make sense. It seems sweet to start with, you know, like you can have fruit, but the fruit's gone off. That's what I'm hearing, okay? So there was somebody connected into your circle of people who was a snake in the grass, okay? And also somebody who gossiped about you when your relationship ended. This ex of yours is going into the Eight of Cups energy. They're going to leave. All right, they're going to leave this relationship. They don't like being controlled. They feel trapped, controlled, and like someone's got them there. Okay, but you weren't like this. You never felt the need. You were your ex's friend. You saw them as a friend and not a possession. The person that they're with now sees them as a possession, something to be kept. Are they being kept? Is your ex being kept? Yeah, your ex is in the Nine of Cups in the reverse. Yeah, they went. Basically, the Nine of Cups in love in the upright can mean someone will just, they're happy as long as they're getting what they want in that moment, okay? But your ex now is looking at walking away. They're disillusioned. Everything that was hidden by this third party is coming to the fore, okay? And they're going to give up. Five of Wands in reverse. They're just going to stop. There's a lot of arguing, okay? Arguing for arguing's sake. But your ex is going to dump it. They don't care. They're going to get to a point very suddenly, out of the blue, possibly during Scorpio season, I just heard for some reason, and they're going to drop all of this. They're done, all right? They don't want the conflict. And they will end this even if you never want to see them again. All right. They would like some form of reconciliation with you. Even if you didn't want a full-blown reconciliation, I feel they would like to put bygones behind, okay? To have a conversation with you. They realise now they had no self-discipline. Okay? They had no self-discipline. Honestly, whatever you choose to do, I feel that this ex of yours has learned a valuable lesson. Okay? And I feel that the fact that they are in an environment where there's arguing, they're feeling trapped, there could be financial issues, they can't actually physically, they're restricted, that they're not going to forget this, okay? they're not going to forget this at all. So let me just see what they would say to you now, besides being ashamed. There we go, off the bat. I see your side of the story. Yeah, but you know, and I'll say it again before I wrap this up, they knew you were right all along. They chose just not to listen, okay? They're very overwhelmed at the moment. The stress from this is draining me. Yeah, they're in the 7 of Wands in their environment. We've got the 8 of Cups in there, okay? And, you know, the King of Pentacles in reverse, that's their energy. Guilty. I feel pain from the damage I have caused. Yeah, it's eating at them. It really is eating at them. Can you quantify that for me? Clarify that for me. Just let me have one card on that guilty card. Justice. Karma. There you go. Yeah, it's balancing out. It always does. Okay? The wheel is turning and you're going to the top and they're going to the bottom. So yeah, the Justice, they've got their karma. You know, if you just look at that card, that's the energy they're in now. They're the person stuck in the middle with all of this going on. Yeah, 3 of Swords. 3 of Swords at the bottom. They broke your heart. They disappointed you. They betrayed you. They let you down. You know, after a period of almost messing you around mentally, they then just totally let you down. But you've changed. You're in the Magician energy, okay? You can see something better for you. Something's changing with you. And whatever you're manifesting, whatever it is you really desire, the Magician is a big yes. One of the most brilliant cards for manifesting, okay? Bottom of the deck. No, split the deck. Let me just split it. I've just split it. 6 of Cups. They're reminiscing about you, okay? They're reminiscing about you. They want to go back to how it was. But I think you've outgrown it, okay? I do honestly feel you have outgrown this. That you have memories. And I think some of them you cherish. And it's made you the person that you are today, which is beautiful. You have stronger boundaries. You love yourself more. You are worthy of everything. You're worthy of it, and you're realising that. So, I just saw like the wheel, the fortune, and you're kind of going up, but they're going down. But I do feel during Scorpio season, this person very quickly, out of the blue, is going to reappear in your inbox. Okay, they are ashamed of what they did. They're ashamed of sleeping with somebody else. They're ashamed of all of it. All right. However, you get to choose. Always remember that. You will create what you want. You don't ever have to go back if you don't want to. Okay, but I'll leave that with you anyway. Just remember, you're amazing, you're perfect, you are absolutely the best, okay? You're magnetic, and to be with you is an honour. Always remember that, okay? And I'll speak to you soon. Take care. Love you.